Hi everyone, it's Nicole and I'm here with layout 21 out of 22, and these are layouts that I created at a crop last October. And so we're almost at the end. I had brought 30 page kits with me, ended up putting together 22 pages, and this is page 21. And I just decided before I started making pages, like newer pages on my channel, that I would work on finishing up these page kits that I had done at the crop, because I had done the making page kits video on my channel. So now you can see how those page kits came into pages. Now, as you can tell, the background of this layout was a cardstock that I had already gutted the inside. So what I'm going to end up doing, I'm just going to use it as a place to build my 12 by 12. I ended up cutting 2 strips of that blue pattern paper that is just full of words to about 3 by 12, and then this pattern right here, which is a lined pattern, was about 9 by 12, and I'm just going to lay it right over top and I'm going to glue it down. So just before I started the recording for this, one of the things that I always did was I would take out everything and then I would look at all the digital prints that I needed to cut apart, and I would have that done before I would turn the camera on. So this layout took me about 26 minutes plus the 10 minutes to cut apart my digital prints. So not bad. Most of my layouts were between, I was surprised, 15 minutes and 30 minutes. So it definitely showed me that making page kits was the only reason why I was so successful at that crop. Now this picture here was a picture of myself, and I call her my mini-me. That's Caitlin, my middle daughter. And a lot of people say that, she's like a mini version of myself. And I remember when she was younger and I would go into stores with her and people would say, well, we don't, and if there was a few other ladies there, they would say, we don't have to wonder which one is your mom. Like, you two look so much alike. But this picture was taken, it was sometime in June, and our trails were open so that we could go for hikes, and it's about an hour and a half from here. It's called the Fundy National Park. It's a really beautiful park with nice trails. And she called me, one weekend and said, next week I have next Thursday off. Do you want to go and drive down to Fundy Park and we can do a bunch of trails? And I said, that sounds like a lot of fun. So that's what we ended up doing. It was a beautiful, gorgeous day. We left not too early in the morning. It was probably like 10 o'clock. So we got there, close to noon. We ended up doing quite a few trails. There's a place down there. They sell sticky buns. They are to die for. They're so good. And we never go down there without buying some sticky buns. So we made sure to get some sticky buns, and we did a bunch of trails. So it was a nice mother-daughter day, and we had a bunch of fun. We brought her 2 little dogs, and we had a fun day. So we took a picture of ourselves on the trail, sticking our tongues out, and then we sent it to somebody and said, haha, we're out here having fun and you have to work. Just being little pains. But let's talk a little bit about what I did. After I cut the pattern paper to form my background, I found a washi tape that was, it looks like a reel of film, and I ended up putting that at the top of the layout. And then on the bottom, I think I'm going to put that sticker. I mounted my photo on some cardstock and I'm remounting it on some pattern papers. The big viewfinder is one of our digital files, and I ended up cutting that out. And then I took another pattern paper and I just made it so that it fit just about the size of that viewfinder, and it just made a nice place for a foundation for that viewfinder, and it just kind of gives it a good foundation for that whole cluster with the photo. And now I'm going to add a smaller viewfinder over top and then a little cluster of flowers. there's another sticker that I put at the very top there, and it says Great Outdoors, and I just like how the whole thing comes together. Then as I'm looking at stuff, I was looking at it and thinking the top and the bottom part of the layout, it doesn't pop enough. So I remembered that I had brought with me a pink washi tape, just a 1/4 of an inch, and it was just enough to make that pop. And I ended up putting it at the top and the bottom, and I really like how that turned out. Now I'm going to work on the rest of the embellishment clusters, and while I'm doing that, just a few things I'd like to mention this week, and I think this is the first time in a long time we won't have any new releases of our digital prints this week. We've had a little bit of a rough week. Last weekend we had to bring Ace, and if you've been following me for a while, you know that Ace is our golden doodle. It'll be 7 years that we've had him at the end of January. January 31st is his birthday. And he ended up with a big lump on the side of his throat, and we had taken him in on Saturday, and we didn't get good news. They said it was cancer, and that eventually he wouldn't be able to breathe because it was right on his throat. So then we paid to get a test done to see if it really was cancer, but you know, we weren't going to get the results for 5 days. Well, on Tuesday morning, they let Ace out to use the bathroom, and when he came in, it looked like a scene from a horror movie. He was bleeding. We thought he was bleeding out. Like the blood was just squirting everywhere. There was some on the wall. You know, the snow looked like there was, like I said, there was like a murder scene outside. So Taylor was holding pressure onto his neck because that's, you know, I brought him a big thing of paper towel, and he kept having to not take the first one off, but keep putting paper towel on, and it was filling up. So Josh had to call the vet, and we had to take him to another vet because the vet we had taken him to on the Saturday couldn't take him. And so anyway, we, had to put him in the back of the truck holding on to his throat because we thought he had scratched, enough that he had kind of busted a vein or an artery. Anyway, we got at the vet, and she took off the paper towel, and it was just like blood all over the floor. And she's like, "Oh, okay." So anyway, they took him in. They were a little worried, and but come to find out what it was an abscess, basically a huge infection, and that's what was coming out, was just like pus mist with blood. But the good news is, they said, a round of antibiotics, and they flushed it out, and they said he was such a good dog, they didn't even have to put him under. He just laid there, and he didn't even move, and he let them clean it out. They gave us some antibiotics, and they saw him the next day, and he was doing so much better. So they are very confident that that's what it was. We did get a call today, and the test came back inconclusive, so we don't think it's cancer. We think it is an abscess. But Josh had quite the week. He just could not concentrate and do anything. So no digital prints this week, but we'll have some next week. And that's it. That's going to complete this layout. And I want to remind you, my virtual crop on January 22nd to 24th is on sale now for $8. And I want to send a special thank you to all my new patrons: Nicole Hopster, Gold; Stephanie Engler, Gold; and Marit, Gold. And I want to thank you so much for watching. Bye.